Hi, folks. Chris Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com, thechrisvossshow.com. And I'm live here with my good friend, revisiting guest, Keith Barrett. How you doing, Keith?
Okay, great to be on the Chris Voss Show.
All right, well, you just take it from here, and I'll just let me know how it turned out. Hey, so we're glad to have you again, Keith. Everybody who watched the last show that you were on said, who's Keith Barrett?
Yeah, I'm used to that.
But now, after that podcast, they know who Keith Barrett is because you gave us the full history of your genealogy. So if you haven't watched the show with Keith Barrett on it the first time, go watch it again. You can find out what his great-grandfather crapped in a field in 19 or 18, whatever.
I was born a poor geek child.
Poor keep child. And then he told of his family's storied travels from the mother country back in the 1700s to find their way for freedom to be able to work at Disney.
Work at Disney, read comic books, wear a computer on your face, all those freedoms.
They were searching for religious freedom in order to find Mickey Mouse. Because God knows he's repressed in France. I hear that Disney in France, you can't do certain things or something. I don't know. What was it?
I don't know. I've never been there. I don't know.
They had a lot of controversy when they first came out with it. Anyway, we don't want to talk about Disney because we don't want to get Keith fired.
Although you did remind me once that when a relative of mine found out that I worked for Disney, they didn't know what to make of it. They said things like, well, do you, like, when you go get your paycheck, do you knock on a tree stump and a squirrel gives you your paycheck? They honestly didn't think that, oh, there might really just be office buildings and it's a corporation. And
do you walk around just singing all the time? Singing enchanted tales?
Yeah, with little cartoon birds on my shoulder.
Little cartoon birds on your shoulder? Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You're like, hey, I'm trying to work, you stupid birds. Go away. I'm not that cheerful. Go bother Snow White or something.
I always ask for the pixie dust with extra caffeine in it in the morning.
Really? Wow. Yeah. There's a lot of people that had that problem in the 80s. So anyway, the pixie dust problem. And lots of mirrors and straws. So anyway.
That is definitely not Disney.
Yeah, oh, it's a different one. Okay. So we'd like to thank Aitly. Aitly's kind of a sponsor of the Chris Voss Show, Aitly.com. It's just like A-T with an L in it, Aitly. It's Andy Grignon's company, and Andy is one of the guys who developed the iPhone. You may have heard of it. And WebOS, you may have heard of that too. So now he's working on his new project, Aitly.com, and they're proud sponsors of our Google Glass, if you will. So I'm going to remove these now that we've got our sponsor plug.
And he made the hat match the glass too.
Yeah, isn't that cool how we did that?
They're both red.
Kind of a matching thing.
They can't see. They're both red.
Yeah, they're kind of. If I sit back far enough in the dark. So go to Aitly.com, check out the cool thing that's coming out there. They have this thing that's really going to revolutionize content making and making apps and people being able to put together websites, things of that nature. But they're going to be awesome with what they're doing. It's pretty brilliant. So check out Aitly.com. Thanks to them. So let's talk about some stuff. You want to go first? What do you got on the agenda you want to talk about?
I don't know. The first thing comes to mind is that Google rolled out another update in the past 48 hours for Glass.
Google Glass.
Yeah, XE17 rolled out, and some people reported a lot of problems. Some people reported it was better. In my case, I woke up in the morning with it. I tried playing with it, and it worked for a little while, and then my glass froze up, and I had to do a factory reset on it. And when I finally was able to get it working again, I looked at the version, and it had fallen back to 16.2. So I'm running 16.2 right now, and it seems to be stable again. But we'll see what I wake up to tomorrow morning.
Did you play with version 16 when it was like the most unstable version?
Yeah, we talked about that in the last show. That 16.1. At 16 and 16.1, I had a lot of problems with. I actually told Google Glass support that I know this. You're rolling out upgrades and you're going to be able to fix it, but right now it was so slow with those updates that I can't let other people demonstrate this product. I can't let them try it anywhere because their experience is just going to be a very bad impression. And 16.2 fixed almost all of that. I still had problems with 16.2 with Twitter. Either something wouldn't post, or if I posted it, it would show up 8 times. I don't know if that was a glass problem or a Twitter app problem or a Twitter service problem that just happened to be coincidental. But other than that, 16.2 was stable, and I'm sort of happy I fell back to it. We'll see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah, that's.
Do you have it? What version is yours right now?
I'm actually powering mine up to see if mine uploaded. I know my battery is completely dead.
Yeah, mine's charging right now. That's why I'm not wearing it.
And I did charge it, but I don't know that it. I think I used it yesterday. I only really use it when I go out of the house.
Yeah, I was just in the Magic Kingdom for a couple hours, so I went there, took some photographs of the new roller coaster that opened up that I haven't ridden.
Oh, holy crap! I do have XC17 up to date.
Okay.
I think it's working. Yeah, that XC16, not the 16.2, but the 16. Man, that messed up the whole slider thing. You can only use like the very front of my slider.
Oh, I didn't have that problem. I just had a problem. I would tap or slide and then wait 4 or 5 seconds before it would react.
I had a boot problem. I think I'm.
A lot of people had perpetual resets. It would shut down and then they would turn it back on, and it would run for like a couple minutes and then shut down again. And
yep, I was having that. That was great.
I had that happen once. It didn't repetitively cycle, but as I said, when it did that, I fell back to 16.2 from 17, and I didn't have an issue.
I'm seeing some delay in the response from when I'm touching and when stuff is happening.
That's the biggest problem I have. Everybody else seems to be focused on the battery life. As soon as they get a new update, they want to see if they got more battery life or out of it. I don't really care about the battery life. Glass only takes 60 minutes to charge from a dead scratch to full charge, and I could do that like on a lunch hour. I care more about, is it responding? Is it stable? Is it going to stay up? Because those are the things that happen while I'm using it, and those are the things that other people see when I let them borrow it to try it out.
You want it to work.
The battery is just a minor inconvenience.
You want it to work? What's wrong with you?
Yeah. Well, I tend to prefer stability over everything. So, so far with the KitKat upgrades, stability did go down. I'm hoping they'll fix it.
You really want stability? Wow.
Yeah, that's my priority.
Have you checked out this? This is another thing I want to talk about. This is a site called Glassaic. Can you see it?
No, I am looking at you though, but I just see you.
Oh, really? Maybe not.
Oh, there you go. Okay, I see it.
Glassaic. This is a
photo mosaic.
Hipstagram of. This is like the hipstagram for Google Glass, and you can download this fairly easy on your Dealio, your Google Glass there, and you can literally share your photos on here just like you would with Instagram and video, I should add. And it basically is a social media network now for Google Glasswares.
Oh, so what they're trying to do is, since there isn't an Instagram app yet, and you can't do videos on Facebook, you can do photographs on Facebook, and you can do photographs and video on Twitter, but you're limited. You can't go anywhere. You can do it on Path too. I guess they're trying to grab that niche before the Instagram app comes out or whatever, and create a new photo service. It's not a bad attempt. Who knows how long Instagram's going to take?
Yeah, I mean, they took a long time to get the Windows thing done. Yeah. I think the Windows thing is still in beta. There's a lot of confusion about it too. They shouldn't even call it beta. People are so confused over on Windows platform. But
and it's only glass photos, right? It's all that's there.
On Glassaic?
Yeah. Or is it other stuff too?
Yeah, I'd show it to you, but it's taking a while to log in, likely because either their site is being a butt or has something to do with all the technology.
5 people right now.
Yeah. So my computer looks like it's freaking out.
No, I hadn't seen that. That's So
yeah, you could take a look.
Interesting move.
You can take a look at Glassaic and stuff. I'm trying to figure out how to get back to where I can see you again. And you can see me. Not that you want to, but
you have to go to like the toolbar or something like that. And there you go. I see you.
There you go. I'm back.
I know what you look like. I don't need to see you.
All right. Well, I'll just turn off my webcam. I'll get naked here.
So yeah, that was my big headache. Was watching and to double that problem. Today was a day that because internally I'm attending a small little tech convention. We were giving Google Glass demo, so I was there with about 4 or 5 other Glass people, and we're all asking each other, "Is yours working? Is yours working? Is yours working?"
Do you ever go on to the Google Glass community that they have there?
Yeah. Well, I was a very heavy contributor to that community for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm using it less, to be honest with you, and I said this today, as a matter of fact. I'm using it less and less because the population there is getting bigger and bigger, so it's getting more diverse, and we're getting more, people that are trolling and things like that. And when somebody posts something on that community, you don't get an alert for it. I mean, you can set it up so you get an email for it, and that's how you know. Whereas if they use the Google Plus communities, I actually get it as a Google Plus alert that I can click and go see the post and respond to. So it's more Android-ish. So I tend to prefer the Google Plus communities over the Glass Dash community website right now.
Which is pretty funny considering. I mean, they're getting beat by their own social media network.
Yeah, well, it's not their product. They're using some sort of bulletin board software or something like that. And it is. I mean, it's a great environment. It's run by the Glass community people, and all of them are awesome people. I've met all of them.
But they should have used Google Glass.
Glass, it did surprise me initially that they didn't leverage the Google Plus community, that they set up their own service. But internally, they may have had reasons for that, for all I know, or there may have been some ways that they wanted to share stuff that they couldn't do it.
Well, they want.
I'm using it less.
Yeah, they know no one's on Google Plus, so they want to.
Yeah, I have a million followers in a ghost town. I like that.
Did we talk last time about Vic stepping down?
I don't know. I don't think we did.
Or being pressured.
Well, maybe we did. Well, we can talk about it again because
Sure.
I like Vic. I consider Vic a casual friend. I don't know. I have not met him in person yet, but he and I have interacted several times online.
Really? Not
and
sexual.
we have a lot of the same friends in town. No. But he's a great guy, and he's very passionate about Google Plus, and he built Google Plus out of nothing. He integrated Hangouts with it. He integrated events, YouTube comment. I mean, he did all of this stuff that, literally before 2011, none of this existed, and it grew to be pretty much the second social media network, and now he's leaving, and the person replacing him is predominantly technical. Mm-hmm. I don't know him personally, and I look at his feeds, and they're very good content, very intelligent, but I don't see he's not the same passionate community kind of person that Vic was, or at least he isn't acting that way or so far. So yeah, I don't know what to think of it.
Is it possible they put someone technical in it because basically they're just going to have techies, hold the thing up and support it technically, so it just keeps operating from day to day?
That's certainly possible. It's certainly been conjectured a lot that that's going to go happen. That's going to switch into like just to be a part of the infrastructure maintenance mode rather than see massive changes to it anymore. This is obviously I don't know. I haven't heard anything.
Yeah. But, I mean, certainly Vic wouldn't have stepped down if it was being a huge success and getting the traffic that had been lauded on it.
That's a little frustrating for me. I don't know if he stepped down or if he was not happy with something and chose to leave, or if he got some sort of great, fantastic opportunity somewhere he can't talk about and decided to leave. I
think he loved the baby too much to quit. But when someone tells you things are going to change, I really believe the rumors and stuff that what happened is just screwing YouTube was the last straw. It screwed a lot of people in messing with YouTube and forcing the Google Plus sign-ins at YouTube.
I didn't like the sign-ins on YouTube. I did think the commenting improved drastically when they switched over.
The commenting do, but it killed all the trolls, which also killed the traffic. I saw a direct result of it.
Yeah, I know.
YouTube. I think it predominantly hurt views on YouTube. So much so that a lot of the people, if I would have worked for YouTube's department, I would have been at Vic's throat. I was really surprised they even let him get away with it, but I'm like, maybe Google's just that desperate.
Right. Well, they also had a real problem they were trying to tackle too. They had a huge, ask any human being on the planet that ever read YouTube comments, and they would all tell you that the most vulgar, insulting things I ever saw.
I think that was a spin. I didn't.
No, I've seen them. That was my impression too when I look at them.
I and most people that I knew on YouTube, we valued those trolls because what would happen is one troll would call one person a name, usually.
Oh yeah, and then you get.
And then they come back, and the other one would do. Well, it became another view because the video audio played, which was great for YouTube because YouTube can go, hey, there's 10 trillion freaking people watching our videos. Well, half those trolls probably weren't even watching the videos; they were just freaking arguing back and forth.
Yeah, but they were just triggering it.
Play. And then what was great about it was people were coming to see the car crash. They were coming to see the arguments. People would write me all the time. They're like, do you know the meltdown argument that is going on your video in the comments section? It's like a battle royale, World War II. I'm like, yeah, I know about it. And they're like, will you follow it? I'm like, I really have better things to do, but I am following it because I get check updates every day as to how much I'm making off of it.
So do you think? So you're saying you think that was a bad move then to change the commenting system, or do you think it should have been a choice that you could have opted to go either way?
It was a horrible move to do it. I mean, it killed a lot of people that were trolling on it, and I was fine with the trolls. I mean, most all social media or YouTube people I know we're pretty okay with the trolls because we understand that we're getting paid to be called, whatever name you want to call us. And if I'm getting paid for you to call me, the F word, really, do it again, please. Seriously, I need more money in my bank account at all times. So, so I was completely fine with it. I was like, please. In fact, sometimes I'd go in and egg them on. And you would have this huge audience that would be watching the fight, so they would be tuning into your video every couple hours to see how the battle royale was going and who was winning the troll fest. And a lot of times it really wasn't even about me that they were like that they were fighting about. They were fighting amongst themselves.
Yeah, that's usually what I would say is they were fighting amongst themselves. But see, I'm not a YouTube star. I mean, I use YouTube to store all my videos, and they've got and I promote things like that. But I don't make money from it, and I don't have lots and lots of subscribers.
But it killed my comments on YouTube. Yeah. It killed my traffic. It killed a lot of people's thing, and it's made a lot of people unhappy. I mean, you've got some real YouTube stars now that are saying that they're gonna quit this year and different things like that, and I'm frustrated with it.
What's the most attractive place to go after that?
After YouTube?
Yeah, is it the Daily Motion?
Nowhere. Nowhere. A lot of Daily Motion and Vimeo. I mean, you're just not going to get the traffic that YouTube can attract. YouTube has really become the TV for 10 to 15-year-olds and people in their teens. It is their TV. When they come home during the day, that's what they watch. I've even become a bad habiter where at dinner I'll sit and watch YouTube. It's just because it's quick, it's easy to turn on, it's easy to hook into. It's kind of like Reddit. Once you get it going, you're locked in with the cavalcade of car crashes. And it's quick and easy to do and adjust and move around, and be very flippant. And okay, well, I don't watch this. No, I don't watch that. It's a piece of shit. All right, flip to that. It's great where it gives you a lot of different options. And so it's their TV. I mean, one of the reasons my videos don't do as well as others is because it's really hard to angle me towards the 10 to 15-year-old crowd. I mean, if I had a pretty face and some titties, that might make a difference. But I for some reason just have education and really smart videos, and that's not going anywhere.
Right. We'll do your next show without any pants on. How's that?
Yeah, it doesn't work with a guy as much. Doesn't work with a guy as much. There's some really talented people on YouTube that do really well. Justine does a killer job. She's great at creating.
Oh yeah, I've always watched her stuff. But to be honest with you, I never read the comments. I watch the shows.
Yeah, there's people that live for those comments. The trolls and stuff, they live for those comments. And the Google Plus thing really hurt them. So,
you think it hurt Justine?
Yeah, I've talked to Justine. Her numbers go down every month.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yep. She made that.
She's got a fairly loyal fan base, and it's not as trollish as other players on YouTube.
I don't know if it's trollish or not. I mean, when you're that huge, you have just an abundance of crazies. But no, everyone's struggling. I mean, if you take a break off YouTube, your numbers go down. You're always trying new things to engage your audience or like your audience. A lot of us started other channels, and then I think a lot of people have started other channels to come back to other things. So it's tough, but I think Google Plus really ruined that, and I think a lot of people at the Google Plus department went to the CEO of Google Plus, just like the rumors state. Was it the TechCrunch article?
Yeah, but that problem is I always take TechCrunch with a grain of salt. You know,
Well,
I
if you
always wait
really,
for somebody else that I trust to say the same story or put
yeah.
the, you know.
Well, the other thing is, I don't know if you saw this recently, but it's been rolled out to developers now, where they've been getting a notification where they were using Google Plus Sign In, that their
Yeah.
Google Plus Sign In is being changed to Google Sign In, and it's
Okay.
automatically switching over to Google Sign In, which basically what that's telling you is they're eliminating Google Plus Sign In. They're going to just straight Google Sign In. Now,
Yeah.
if that's not a powerful thing to tell you that they're going, we're going to slide Google Plus to the back, what is? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, that makes actually more sense to me. It should be a Google sign-in.
Yeah, it should be. You would think they would do that, but I think Vic kind of had his way for a long time at being able to do whatever he wanted, and I think finally he pissed off enough people to go, no, we're not doing that. And when they say that, finally the CEO had to step in because he was the CEO's little baby child, and I thought for a year after all the pie in the sky, la 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 la, hear no evil stuff that Vic would always do. In fact, he kicked me out of a hangout one time. I just barely went in. I was sitting there just seeing what was going on, and I was in there for I think a minute or two, and all of a sudden I got booted and banned. Because he knows.
Did you say anything?
Oh, no, he knows me. He knows my discussions that I have about Google Plus. I've tagged him in a lot of discussions, or I've tried to call him out to stuff to talk about stuff, and so he's always had that la land sort of mentality. You watch the threads about Google Plus, and it's like everything's great, roses. There's nothing wrong.
I got to tell you, he's always been great for me. I mean, he's always been nice. He's jumped into my conversations. He's corrected me when I've been wrong, and he's also helped me out of several problems. And he even joined some hangouts that I was doing that were casual with other people. And I'm sure he was instrumental in helping me get on the Google suggested user list for a while too. And so I don't really have anything. I have nothing but nice things to say about him because
awesome.
I thought he was good for Google Plus, and he was good for me.
I should have played it better. I should have just been nice to him the whole time. How Google Glass was great.
I mean, I can see how because I'm not a YouTube star, so I'd have to have that point of view related like you just did. I can see how if that was your bread and butter and I actually had bottom line impact to you and your fan base and everything, that change was bad.
Yeah.
But unfortunately that didn't impact me personally. So that doesn't get added to my list of these are reasons why I should not like Vic, because I like Vic. I didn't have that.
Yeah. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I mean, against him personally. For years, the last couple years, I'd had a lot of discussions that I tried to pull Vic into with Robert Scoble, Thomas Hawk, and several people, and basically the discussions were, I don't understand how, Robert Scoble has 8 million followers on Google Plus or whatever it is, but he only gets 150 comments. That math does not make sense.
No, and actually, if you scale that, I probably have the same story because I only got a million followers, but when I do a post, if I'm lucky, I'll get 50 to 100 comments, and that'll be it.
And the other problem that I discovered, no one seems to have ever discovered this, is that the views were slanted. The views were based upon page serves. And what Google Plus back in the day was doing was serving you a page which there was 3 pages below the break. So if you know what that means you have to page down to see the rest of the content. So there was 4 pages on your screen that you would normally see if you page down that were served to you. What we discovered was the page serves were counting views. The only problem is 3/4 of the content, or 3 pages below the break, were being presented to you that you may never have paged down to see. Most times when I went into Google Plus, I looked at the page, and then I go look at what we want to do. So we did some testing of it by putting up photos and different things of that nature, and within seconds, within like a minute, we would have 800 views to the thing. There was just no way that there was 800 individual views of that photo of people clicking on it.
Well, I've had the same observation about photos. If you post photos frequently, your views escalate astronomically compared to if you're just posting, content of other types, links and text and things like that, or even if you just have a little photo in it to help your thing. But if you're posting, that's one of the reasons. You go look at Trey Radcliffe's feed. His views are astronomical.
Yeah, or
because all he does, because that's all he does is post hangouts and photos.
Yeah, and he does great photos. They both.
But there is a way you could. I haven't done this, but you could enable using analytics in Picasa. You could enable analytics on your photo posts, and then you could compare the views there of the photo with the views that Google Plus is reporting, and see how much of a discrepancy there is.
I can't remember if we did that or not back when we had this argument, but we kept having the argument, and most people agree with me. There's definitely a disparity when it comes to active users. The one thing I called Vic out for that he would never answer, and probably one of the reasons he hated me, was because I was one of the first people when they integrated Google Plus through all the Google products. I'm like, are you counting this? If I'm in Gmail, are you counting me as an active Google Plus user right now because I'm in Gmail and you have the button bar across the top? And he would never answer that question. It was pretty much determined, I think, by a lot of people in the end that the views and the usage of Google Plus was being skewed by anyone who was using a Google product, was being counted. So this is pretty interesting. Amazon and U.S. Postal Service to expand Sunday delivery to 15 or more cities. Just reading that come across the wire.
Did you see the post that Robert just did earlier today about laws being passed to prevent photos in drones, photography from drones?
No, I didn't actually.
It's on his Facebook page right now.
Take a look at what old Robert's up to.
Which is an interesting thing. If it's illegal for drones to take photographs, is that a good thing? Is that a good idea?
Well, I know that Robert mentioned on one of his feeds he was talking to somebody about photographs in public, and he was saying that by law, photographs in public, if you're out in public, people can take photos of you. They can't make money from those photos.
Well, you can't share them. You can't share them. They're only for personal consumption. You can't share them publicly. You can't make money from them. But yeah, you're right.
I think you can share them publicly because that's what someone was calling him out for. Was he posted something of someone publicly, and that's what they were calling him out for.
Well, I don't see.
We'll have to check with
You'll have to look at that carefully because, for example, because I hear people do this gripe all the time. They're like incredulous that they do this. You can take photographs of children in playgrounds. That's perfectly legal. In fact, when I was growing up, that would happen all the time. But now, for some reason, there's a creepy element attached to it. Somebody just taking photographs of children. If you shared those photographs of children, you're going to start to fall into child protection laws.
Yeah.
So so while taking them might be legal, sharing them without permission because the people in the photograph can't legally grant you permission, you can't share them. So it's not as clean as dry as you just said that. I totally agree with you that taking them is clear, but what you do with them afterwards has controls and requirements attached to it.
You can't make money off them. In the back of the day, one of the companies I used to own, we owned a lot of companies, was a modeling and talent agency for actors and models, and we would routinely find actors that had been or models that had been used. They were using their stuff for different things. We'd have to send out a cease and desist order and ask for payment. Much like
because your image is yours. Yeah. So if I took a picture of you and put it on a big billboard and I didn't charge for it, I just did all that for free, you could still come after me and you'd probably win.
Like we had, I think it was with Channel 5 in Utah. They'd done some sort of commercial spot on a corner for the television station themselves. Like, we report all the news all the time or whatever, And one of our child actors had walked with their parents through the shot in the back. And your face clearly appeared and all that good stuff. Well, they were already making money using that as an advertisement to promote their channel. And so, we wrote them a cease and desist letter, and they complied, and then they sent a bunch of trinkets, which is a way of fixing the, well, we paid them. We sent them some trinkets.
But yeah, I mean, you're right. Once money enters the picture, personal gain enters the picture, it's a lot easier to understand that you got a problem.
Yeah, and so they realize the rules. Most people like that. They'd send a check, or send some trinkets or something of value, so that you could say that there was some sort of either compensation or what's the word I'm looking for in attorney lawyer terms, when money changes hands over a contract. Um, it's called consideration.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I mean, you're right. I do think you can share the photos, but I think if I was to get a cease and desist from someone saying, using my image in the public forum, I want you to stop, I might be required to do so. I don't know. We'll have to ask Robert about this, because he quoted some sort of California state law, I know.
It also might vary a little bit between states too.
Yeah, he quoted California law too, which I don't know.
My understanding is that sharing them publicly also can make you vulnerable. If you don't have permission from the people to do that. It's like using their name in a book. Even if that person really was part of your story and you're telling the truth, you still...
Yeah. Using a book, that you would be using that for income. I know a lot of photographers do street photography, and they're not getting releases from those people when they're publishing. So I don't know. It's interesting. We'll have to ask Thomas Hawk or Robert Scoble.
Yeah, Thomas would certainly know. Carlos from Photography Is Not a Crime would probably know too.
Yeah, I'm still quite new at getting into the game, but like recently I went out and I shot Venice Beach, and we shot a lot of public shots. People that didn't have releases for. We published them. But
it's also a public setting in their background, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So that also adds to the formula too.
Yeah, they're in a public domain, and that's what Robert said. If they're in a public domain, they're out in public, then you can publish it, but you can't really make money with it. Or if you do, they can come to you and say, hey, I want to get paid for that. So, and then you would have to comply, because the way the copyright rules work, to my understanding, is that the photographer owns the copyright, and then the person in the picture owns the copyright. So that's kind of interesting that way. But anything else going on you want to talk about?
I don't know. So what do you think of the idea of drones, of being illegal for them to take photographs? At least by the general public.
Probably taking photographs I know of.
Robert's position was there's no way that's going to be enforceable.
Well, yeah, I mean, what precludes me from pulling in front of your house with my Canon 1DX, we should talk about here in a bit, and just shooting your house from the front driveway?
That's actually already been in the news, where I think at least in some states the courts said, well, yeah, people who own homes don't necessarily own the airspace above their land in that home. So if somebody without a warrant, like a police officer, wants to fly a helicopter and have it aimed in your bedroom window and your curtains are open, that's not necessarily illegal. And so, I don't think that's going to last that way. But
think about it this way: it seems pretty legal to have Google Maps put a satellite in my backyard to show you what my swimming pool looks like. I suppose I can write them and ask them to take it down or log me out.
So what does that mean? Because they're obviously doing it from space. Actually, it's not even their satellite, right? They're just using time on like government satellites or something.
It might be.
So does that mean there's a distance? Like you can't do it from 3 feet, but you can do it from 30,000 feet?
I just need a long enough zoom enough lens.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's what's the difference between Google Plus or Google Maps hovering over your house, that I can see almost every detail. I can see, if I want to case your house, I can go to Google Maps. I can see all your back entries and everything else.
Well, but you know the difference. The difference there is it's not there is no effort being made to photograph the contents of your house, and there's no effort or desire to have people in it. They're trying to shoot scenery, objects, and positions. Something
tells me that they have the ability to do that now. I mean, it just may not be publicly available. I'm sure the government can see in my windows from what I.
Oh yeah, I'm told. Always believe that the level of technology in the hands of the government and the military is higher than you and I are aware of.
I mean, they could probably tell how many times I'm flushing the toilet and what my stool samples look like.
Oh, I understand. They can read. If you're sitting on a park bench reading a newspaper, they can read it with you.
Chris is a little orange today. He must have had that Mexican burrito. Sorry. I heard Moby one time talk about his poops because he's vegetarian, and he described the color coordinations of how to tell if you're healthy or not based upon what you leave behind, let's put it that way. And And he was pretty explicit, and it was like way too much color coordination that I wanted to think about. So
you want to throw him off? Ask him to describe the difference between floaters and sinkers and whether the health differences. You'll get him off on another tangent.
You just went there, didn't you? We just went to the next level, and we have 0 viewers now.
My first thought when you started to say that, I don't want a lot of friends like that in my life. I don't want that level of detail.
Not like you have a choice in the NSA.
Chris, I'm telling you right now, forever alone, I really don't want to hear about your bathroom activities. Sorry. Unless you're telling me you're actually bleeding and I need to rush you to an emergency room, unless it hits that level, I don't want to know about it. Sorry.
So that's why I just routinely every night I pull down my pants, put my butt up against the window, and moon the government because I want them to feel my pain or something.
You reminded me of a true story that I think is hysterical. Maybe we can apply this.
I am a true story.
There was a period of time when in Chicago, the Midway Airport had redirected their flights, and they were flying over this neighborhood that they were never supposed to fly over. And this guy was complaining. He was calling the airport all the time, saying, "You're flying over my house, and I don't want you're not supposed to fly over this house, and I'm trying to sleep." And they blew him off. Hey, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? So what he did was he climbed up on top of his roof, and in big white paint he wrote, "Welcome to Cleveland." And then every time a plane flew over his house, it caused such an uproar among all the passengers because they all thought they were landing in Chicago, and that the airport decided it was more of a situation where they should just redirect the flights away from that neighborhood.
That's hilarious.
So he won. So ingenuity. You just gotta be very clever.
The wild thing that we have with living in Orange County, we have the John Wayne Airport, and I guess so many people complained in Orange County, a bunch of snobs. Well, I live there too, but they complained about how the jets, they fire up to get to 10,000 feet, the cruising speed. And so, fortunately, the first time I flew out of Orange County, they told us what the deal was. They go, look, we're going to fire up the engines. We're going to cruise to, we're going to fire up to 10,000 feet. But just so you know, at 10,000 feet, we really ramp back the engines so that we can turn around and fly over Orange County without pissing everybody off. So don't freak out when you hear the engines go down, because literally, I'm not shitting you. They fire it up and you shoot up to like 10,000 feet, and it feels like they shut the engines down and you start coasting, and you're just kind of like, oh crap. So
I've been in flights where at certain airports they have to coast, be quiet, and then they fire everything up and land you as absolutely fast as possible.
Yeah.
And you could feel the G-force when they do it, and I assume it's similar situation.
Yeah. Well, one of the last things I want to talk about was the Canon 1DX. We've been testing this and reviewing it with from the races of the good folks at Canon at usacanon.com. And this is the Canon EOS 1DX, top of the EOS line. This thing, I've been playing with it now for a couple weeks. We've got a number of reviews that are still coming out on it and comparisons. This thing's insane. Check this out. It's got its own networking plug for networking.
For wired network.
Yeah.
Is it built-in Wi-Fi too?
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's got built-in Wi-Fi. I think you have to get an add-on for that, because they just basically go, just plug it in, idiot. I'm pretty sure it doesn't have built-in Wi-Fi. The new ones do have built-in Wi-Fi.
Yeah, a lot of the Sonys now have built-in Wi-Fi.
I think the 60 and the 70D, which I have it. But this thing is the greatest camera ever made when it comes to the EOS line, or any DSLR line. Now, of course, the Reds are probably better, but going up in the 4K and the movie cameras that Canon makes. But this thing is freaking just a monster of a camera. So we've been doing a lot of reviews. Be sure to watch for those reviews of it. Been doing a lot of walkarounds of it. Look at the battery on this thing. This battery is just like monster battery.
Sam, look, is it a mirrorless or is it not? Because it's
no, it's not mirrorless.
All right, because it's almost small enough that it's starting to look like it's a mirrorless. That's why I'm wondering.
It's huge, dude. This is not small in any shape or form. In fact, where's my D? But I gotta tell you, I love Canon cameras.
I was going to ask you if you're a Canon guy, because most people are either Canon or Nikon.
I'm a Canon guy. We've reviewed. See, my Canon camera has the battery pack on it, so technically it should only be about that size comparatively, because I've added the battery pack on. But they've built everything into this machine, and it's just the greatest thing ever. In fact, I'm going to cry the day that I have to return it to them. Of course, we'll probably be reviewing other products from Canon, so that'll make us happy. But just an immaculate camera. And if you could afford this, I've been looking at selling my kidneys. It's only $7,000. So if I had a child, I would sell it to a Chinese organ harvesting company. But thanks to Canon, USA.canon.com, for sharing that with us. But watch for the reviews in the Chris Voss Show and the YouTube channel, which are pretty cool. So Keith, what are you up to in the next coming weeks? What's going on with your...
next weekend I have a big Google Glass meetup over at Disney World.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Friday night I'm hosting a dinner over at the area restaurant, and there's going to, I host these things so that there's a mixture of people who just want to show up and meet other people, and it's casual. I don't know how many people are going to show up. We usually just do it like in a restaurant bar area, and we just add more and more tables as it gets bigger. And so Friday night we have, drinks and food at a restaurant, and then Saturday all day from morning into evening we're going to go to the Disney Hollywood Studios because they're beginning Star Wars weekends. And Star Wars weekend, that's when they turn, the whole park is full of hundreds of stormtroopers. There's Star Wars celebrities there. There's photo opportunities, autograph opportunities. There's a show at the end of the day. This year there's going to be a fireworks thing. And there's about 18 to 20 Google Glass users that have accepted my invite. They're going to join me for that. So even if half of them show up, I'm going to be in the park with at least 10 people. We're all going to be running around doing this thing all day long.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And have you seen George Zimmerman and Anthony, what's her name? And I can't pull that joke off. I was going to say, I want to be your friend so I can go to Disneyland, so I'm going to move to Florida. I hear that Casey Anthony has a spare room. Oh!
It's funny because when you join Disney as a company, they tell you two things. The first is you better create a guest room in your house because people that you haven't talked to in 20 years and relatives you haven't seen in 10 years are going to come out of the woodwork and say, I want to come down and visit you. And that was absolutely true. The second thing is they said a lot of companies have a no dating policy. We don't. You can date people in this company. We're not going to get involved. If it's a situation where you're dating your manager, you're in the same reporting structure, we're going to ask somebody to leave that team and go somewhere else. And if you can't decide who it is, we're going to move the manager involuntarily. But other than that, we don't have a no dating policy because we cannot tell you not to date 1/6 of the population of the town of Orlando.
That is pretty true.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Disney.
Because there's 60,000 people working in this facility here.
How's your Disney dating profile going?
Well, there is no dating website, but that is actually maybe you hit on a new business need there.
I can see a lot of. You ever seen those people that have the fetishes where they like dressing up in costume?
Yeah, you mean like the brownies?
They like dressing up as mascots and stuff. I can see a lot of people who want jobs there now.
Well, I haven't seen that here, fortunately. I don't think they would pass the screening process.
Why is that guy humping Disney in the closet in the back room?
No.
Why is he humping Minnie Mouse? What's going on?
You have to realize, first of all, to work in most positions of any position, responsibility, authority, you got to pass a background check. So, because we're in proximity to children, so that's usually pretty serious.
That's true. Yeah. Why is Minnie and Goofy getting it on in the back?
No, that doesn't happen.
Yeah. That reminds me of a joke I saw. I think I have it saved somewhere on my phone or something. And it's Mickey Mouse. He's asking for a divorce, and the judge is saying
they're not married.
The judge is saying you can't ask for divorce on grounds that Minnie Mouse is out of her mind. And Mickey Mouse says, I didn't say Minnie Mouse is out of her mind. I said she was fucking goofy.
Yeah, I've heard this joke before. That is not a Disney joke. Is that a joke I could tell?
I told him.
I'll tell you. You want to hear a Disney joke?
Okay.
Disney joke, because this will show you the cleanliness of a Disney joke. Disney joke would be when the Animal Kingdom first opened up, there was some fear and panic because they didn't have anybody to. The gorillas weren't available yet, and and it was opening up to the public. So they said, well, we have this gorilla costume, so we're gonna have this cast member dressed up in the gorilla outfit. He'll be in the cage and he'll be acting like the gorilla, and the tourists won't know the difference. So they do that, and he's jumping around and he's pounding his chest and he's swinging, and he notices he's right next to the lion cage, and the lion is in there watching him. But the tourists are eating this up like crazy, and he's getting away with it. So he's becoming more and more daring, and he slips and he falls and he lands in the lion cage.
Oh!
And the lion and he's cowering in the corner, and the lion is approaching closer and closer, and he's starting to yell, "Help! Help!" The lion gets right next to him and says, "Shut up! You're gonna spoil it." That's a Disney joke.
That's pretty good. Yeah, the lion's sitting there going, "Monkey for dinner." All right. Well, I need to wrap up, Keith. I need to run into somebody's podcast. It was wonderful to be hanging with you again, man. Give us your plugs on the interwebs.
I'm at keithbarrett.com. That's where I do all my blogging and all my Google Glass stuff, too. I also run a site called vidcastnetwork.com where I post all my hangouts and my live internet broadcasts when that happens. And I'm on Twitter as Keith Barrett. And on Monday nights at 6 o'clock, I co-host with Steve Haywood on the Tech Buzz broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, I have a Google Glass meetup at Disney World, and if you're in Disney World, then give me a shout, and maybe I'll find some time we can get together and talk. And if you're on Twitter, give me a follow. So.
Jeez, Google Glass has got it in at Disney with you for advertising. That's awesome.
It's been pretty amazing because I joined Disney, and there's a lot of people who follow me and are interested because I work at Disney. And then I joined Google Plus, and there were a lot of people that followed me and everything because I was on Google Plus and I was doing all these hangout shows and things like that. And now I have Google Glass, and a lot of people are following me because of Google Glass. There's always a new thing that comes along that has a fandom attached to it. And if you're into it, you'll suddenly get this new fan base you've never had before. You just keep adding and adding.
There you go.
I'm sure every time you review a product, depending upon the product, you get more and more people noticing you.
They notice it, whether they like my review on it or they disagree with it, especially if it's an iPhone or an Android phone. You're an asshole. Oh, you're great. I love whatever XYZ phone. People will call me out and be like, "You like the iPhone? You must be an Obama fan." You're like, "How did that go political?
Oh, wow. Yeah,
how did that cross that line?" Anyway, I'm going to let you go, Keith. It was lovely to have you some more, and we'll look forward to it. Thanks for coming by, and be sure to tune in to chrisvossshow.com. Be sure to check out aly.com, our sponsors, of course, for the Google Glass, and sign up for their forthcoming beta. Thanks for coming by. I'll see you later. All right.